Hi everybody, this is the website boy again with another great tutorial. And today I got a very interesting tutorial for you. We're gonna learn how to read values from input fields, from input types, texts and other input types. All right, so basically we're gonna read information from some element, HTML element, and then we're gonna do something with it. All right, so now let's go ahead and save the last tutorial, which was the 40th for me. I don't know for you. And then we are going to call this reading information.html. All right. Now, let me go ahead and let's go to the JavaScript folder, and there I go. All right. So let's open this in the browser, and I got some stuff we did on the last tutorial, which were about the event handlers. If you don't know about that, watch that tutorial. But today we are going to be discussing something totally different. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a form, and I'm going to tell the user type this in there, and if they don't type it, then I want to let them know that they didn't type anything. I'm going to give him like an error kind of thing and tell him, listen, you need to type something in this field. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to create a form. I'm not going to put action on it, and I'm going to use a attribute for functions, right, called unsubmit. You've probably never seen this before. And this is going to detect if the form was submitted. All right, check. All right, error message or something. Let's just call this function error message. I'm gonna call the function that I'm gonna make in a minute. All right, so let's just close that. Let's put the input fields down here. So this is gonna be a user name, and let's just make an input, and let's put an ID of username. All right, and let's also make a password field. Password field, and let's just name this password. All right, so if I go and refresh, then I have a form right there. We can make it look a lot better, but and this is actually, it does look better since I have Bootstrap linked to this file, but we can make it look better than that. But we're just gonna leave it the way it is. Right now, if I type something here in the password field, you can see what I'm typing. And if you know some HTML, you can know that you can hide whatever you type in there by just renaming this attribute inside this password, this input field, renaming it to password. And for those of you that did not know, you learned something new. Refresh. And then when I type, because we are using HTML5, then we hide the content. It does it automatically for us. All right. So now what I want to do is when if the user doesn't type anything in here, then I'm gonna let them know, listen, you need to put something in there. All right. So how do we read the value from here? Well, we need to make a function. First, let's make the function that is gonna do that, because we're calling the function right now, but we need to make the function to do that. So let's first create a function, and we need the script tags, of course. So we create a function error message, and I like to copy it and paste it, open and close curly brackets. And then here, what do we want to do? First, what I want to do is I want to send the ID of the input. Since I actually created an ID here because I want to check for this ID right here in this function. That way I can differentiate between this input here and this input. The way I do that is with IDs. All right, so I want to pass the ID right here. I want to say, you know what, I'm sending you username. I'm going to pass this value there. Very important that you name it username. All right. So let's do that. Now here we're gonna receive it as whatever we want. We can put uh, the field, the ID. We can name it whatever we want because we're just receiving this value here. So now that we receive the value from that function, the parameter, we get a parameter right here. We receive that information, the ID, which is username. We got to do something with it. So we got to check. We got to make a condition here, and we got to check, right? And we're gonna use something very special here. I don't know if I have mentioned in other tutorials, but it's called in JavaScript, and the way you relate, the way you talk about the whole thing here, the HTML document, is by a keyword called document. And that's what we're doing right now. We're saying inside the document, I want you to get, and you got to type this exactly like I'm typing it right now. If not, it will not work. All camel case element, well, not all camel case, but you need to put the camel case in there. Element, get element by ID. As you see here, I got 1, 2, and 3 keywords there, 3 word letters that are capital. They all need to be capital for this to work. All right, and we are going to use that ID. That ID is carrying the value. This variable is carrying this username ID. All right. So if document get element by ID right now, this if statement is checking to see if this is there. All right. But we are missing something. Right now we're checking if this is there. Yes, it is there. So it's always going to be true. What we need to check is inside that. We need to check the value of it. So that ID is there, but the value of it, all right, it's not. So we're going to say if document dot get element by ID, boom, we put this in parentheses there, and then we say that value. All right, and then we say equals, and we need to be very strict. I like to use the triple equal signs there, just to be, because they have to be is identical, you know. The two equal signs are not as identical as this. This is more strict. This is equal also, but this is more equal. This is more identical. So if the data has to be exactly like we are going to be using it right here. So if this is completely empty, that's what I'm going to say right here with these double quotes. Then I want to do something, right? So we close this, and let's do the something between this open curly bracket and the closing curly bracket. So what do we want to do? We want to alert something. We say, hey, listen, type this in. Type something here now, right? So, but we are missing something here. How in the world are we going to submit this form? We don't have a button there, so we need to provide that button. So let's provide that. Let's name this submit, and let's actually create a value so we can have a name for that button there. Submit. Let's make it capital since this is going to show on the screen. Refresh. Now we have a button. So if I submit this like this, it says, hey, type something here now, because I haven't typed anything. So if I type something there, then it submits, right? So it doesn't give me anything, but if I type without typing anything, then I get a message here. So this is the code that we just made, and let's just recap. We have a form. Inside this form, I used a attribute called onSubmit to call the function with a parameter, with an ID of an input as a parameter, right? And I have the function down here catching that value, turning it into a variable so that way we can use it down here. And I have an if statement, not conditional, with a keyword called document.getElementById that's responsible to get any ID on the document that is specified in between these parentheses. So this keyword document.getElementById right there, this function gets any ID that I specify in between this, in between the parentheses. All right. Right now is a variable, so we don't put the quotes apostrophes. But if it wasn't a variable, we need to put apostrophes. That way we can detect if it has an ID. If it has an ID, it won't take it just like this. It will not work. You don't put apostrophes on variables there on that function, but if it was an ID, a string, then we put the apostrophes. All right. We use the equal operator there with an empty string this right here, and is stated as two double quotes. That means it's empty. That means that this value is empty. If I put something else in here, then the string will have something. But right now this doesn't have anything there, so we put two double quotes, and that's how we tell this function here that it doesn't have anything. Two empty double quotes. Then between the curly brackets, we execute the code that we want. So this is how we make the function, how we check for, how we read the fields in this form. If you have any type of questions, please go to my website at websiteboy.com, put it there. But this is very clear, I think. You can go back and pause the video and rewind it and do it. If you need the exercise file, let me know. You can just click in the bottom of this video and find that link. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you liked it, please favorite, please like it, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Take care.